a piano action available right now that is more consistent, more durable, and more resistant to the weather than anything found in the world's greatest concert stages. Some technicians call it the future of piano manufacturing. And I have a genuine concern about recommending it to you. Here's why. Welcome to Living Pianos. Robert Estrin here today. We're going inside piano actions. I mean really inside, in a way that most piano content never goes, because the action is the soul of the instrument. It's every piece of mechanical engineering that stands between your fingers and the string, and for most of the piano history, the conversation has been settled. There's a gold standard and everything else is measured against it. But that gold standard is being challenged right now by two different technologies, and the results are surprising. And in one case, genuinely complicated. Let me walk you through all of it. When you play a Steinway, a Fazioli, a Brusendorf, or a Bechstein, when you sit down at virtually any top-tier piano made anywhere in the world, the action inside is almost certainly made by one company, Renner. Based in Stuttgart, Germany, established in 1882, the most respected action manufacturing on earth. Renner actions are built primarily from wood, spruce, mahogany, hornbeam, with felt bushings at every pivot point. The felt absorbs shock, reduces friction, and allows the mechanical movement that defines how a piano feels under your hands. When a Renner action is new and in perfect regulation, it is extraordinary, responsive, nuanced, capable of every gradient of touch a great pianist needs. And here's something most buyers don't know. Renner is now owned by Steinway. Let that sit for a moment. The company that manufactures the action used in the vast majority of the world's finest pianos, including direct Steinway competitors, is a Steinway subsidiary. I'm not suggesting anything improper. Renner continues to supply the broader industry. But when you understand this, you start to see the piano world differently. The gold standard that every other manufacturer is measured against is defined and owned by the most powerful name in the business. Now, why does that matter? Because the challengers we're about to discuss aren't just offering an alternative action, they're offering independence from that standard. And this is a much bigger idea than it might appear at first. This is a traditional wood and felt action. The same basic architecture Renner has refined for over 140 years. You can see the hammer flanges, the center pins, the felt bushings at each pivot point. When this is new and regulated properly, this is what greatness feels like. But over time, decades of use, humidity changes, temperature swings, the felt compresses, the wood swells and contracts, and the action begins to feel different from the day it left the factory. Every regulation appointment is, in part, fighting the physics of organic materials responding to their environment. This is what deterioration looks like up close. This is why the challengers exist. There are two technologies that represent genuine departures from the Renner standard, and they approach the problem differently. The first is Kawai's Millennium 3 action, found in Kawai's higher-tier acoustic and hybrid instruments. Kawai replaced the traditional felt bushings with a proprietary material called ABS carbon, a carbon fiber reinforced composite. There are no felt pivot points. The result is an action that requires less regulation over time. It resists humidity changes far better than wood and felt, and maintains its feel with remarkable consistency across years of use. And Kawai has been refining this technology for decades. This isn't an experiment, it's a mature, proven engineering solution. The second, and this is where things get really interesting, is the Wessel Nickel and Gross action, WNG, made in the United States and owned and used by Mason and Hamlin on their acoustic grand pianos. And what is really a game changer is that these action parts are sold to independent rebuilders and technicians for use in restoration work. the WNG action is built almost entirely from carbon fiber and other synthetic materials. Not partially synthetic, fundamentally structurally synthetic. Even the hammer shanks, which are wood on the Kauai Millennium 3 action, are made of carbon fiber on the WNG actions. The precision tolerances that carbon fiber manufacturing allows are simply not achievable with wood. Wood is biological material. It responds to moisture, to temperature, to the decades of mechanical stress a piano action endures. Carbon fiber, it doesn't. Every single WNG action is, in measurable terms, more consistent than any wood action ever, because the material itself doesn't change. I've played Mason and Hamlin grand pianos with WNG actions, and I'll tell you directly, they are remarkably smooth, remarkably precise. The response is uniform across every key in a way that a wood action, however masterfully regulated, simply can't replicate to the same degree. If you sat down and played one, you would notice it immediately. There's a clarity to the mechanical response that it feels, this is a genuine technical observation, almost engineered rather than crafted, which brings me to my concern. Here's the thing nobody tells you about an action that is too good. Every major concert hall in the world has a Steinway. The competition circuit runs primarily on Steinways, recording studios, master classes, conservatory practice rooms. The instrument the professional world uses as its standard has a wood action with felt bushings. That is the tactile reality of concert piano playing at the highest level. If you practice daily on a WNG action, or to a lesser degree a Millennium 3 action, you're training your hands on a mechanical experience that is smoother, more consistent, and requires slightly less force than what you'll encounter the moment you sit down at a concert instrument. I've heard this from pianists directly. After extended time with a WNG action, playing a traditional Steinway can feel, and this is the word that keeps coming up, heavy, even though the action is weighted similarly to wood actions. Now, for the vast majority of piano players, this is not a crisis. If you're a serious student, an advanced amateur, a lifelong pianist who plays at home and for your own joy and the development, the WNG or Millennium 3 action may genuinely be the superior choice for your instrument. More consistent, more durable, less sensitive to the seasons. But if you perform on the concert circuit, if you compete, if you record, if you play on the instruments the professional world uses, then training on an action that departs significantly from the standard carries a real cost. You're developing touch and technique relative to a feel that doesn't exist on the stage you're preparing for. If this kind of insight and perspective on the piano industry is useful to you, the information that doesn't always come up in the showroom conversation, subscribe if you haven't. There's a lot more where this comes from. Now, let me give you some actual recommendations. Here's how I think about this honestly. After 4 decades of playing and selling pianos, if you're buying a new piano for home use and you have no intentions of performing regularly on concert instruments, the Kauai Millennium 3 action is exceptional choice. It's proven, mature technology, the consistency and durability benefits are real. It's not a compromise. It's a different engineering philosophy, and in many respects, a better one for the context of home practice. If you're rebuilding an instrument, restoring a fine, older piano, and considering which action to install, the WNG action is worth serious consideration. The precision it offers is genuinely remarkable. You'll experience far less maintenance over decades of heavy use and changing environments, and having that action available to rebuilders is a significant development for the restoration world. Mason and Hamlin should really be recognized for making this technology accessible beyond their own instruments. If you're a serious performing pianist who needs to sit down at any concert instrument and feel immediately at home, The traditional wood action, or a Renner actioned instrument kept in excellent regulation, remains the practical professional standard, not because it is the finest technology in isolation, but because your hands need to speak the same language as the stages you'll play on. And if you own a vintage instrument with a traditional wood action, keep it regulated, find a skilled technician. The felt bushings issue is real, but it's manageable. What you have is a mechanical system refined over more than a century, and when it's working properly, it's still extraordinary. The piano world is moving to new materials, new manufacturing precision, new ideas about what an action can be. That is genuinely exciting, but the concert stage hasn't moved yet. And until it does, the choice of which action you live with has implications beyond your living room. I'm Robert Esper, and this is a topic I find genuinely fascinating. I'd love to know where you stand. Have you played a WNG or Millennium 3 action? What did you think? Leave it here in the comments at livingpianos.com or on YouTube, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks for joining me.